Coming up on 5 Minute News. Maui's emergency chief resigns for not activating sirens during fire. Trump cancels press conference to prove election fraud. And California police arrested for racist text messages. It's Friday, August 18. I'm Anthony Davis. The head of the Maui Emergency Management Agency resigned abruptly yesterday, a day after saying he had no regret about not using the sirens to warn residents of wildfires that devastated the historic seaside community of Lahaina and killed at least 111 people. That decision from the agency, directed by Administrator Herman Andaya, coupled with water shortages that hampered firefighters and an escape route that became clogged with vehicles, has brought intense criticism from many residents. The lack of sirens has emerged as a potential misstep and was part of a series of communications issues that added to the chaos. Mayor Richard Bisson accepted Andaya's resignation effective immediately, the county of Maui announced on Facebook. Andaya cited unspecified health reasons, with no further details provided. A day earlier, Andaya defended the decision not to sound sirens as the flames raged. Hawaii has what it touts as the largest system of outdoor alert sirens in the world. We were afraid that people would have gone inland or towards the mountains. If that was the case, then they would have gone into the fire. The siren system was created after a 1946 tsunami that killed more than 150 on the Big Island, and its website says they may be used to alert for fires. Hawaii Attorney General Ann Lopez said earlier in a statement that an outside organization will conduct an impartial, independent review of the government's response, and officials intend to facilitate any necessary corrective action and to advance future emergency preparedness. The investigation will likely take months, she said. Disgraced former President Donald Trump now says he won't be holding his news conference next week to unveil what he claims is new evidence of fraud in Georgia's 2020 presidential election, even though no fraud has ever been substantiated, citing the advice of lawyers as he prepares to face trial in 2 criminal cases that stem from his election lies. No compelling evidence of the wide-scale fraud Trump alleges has emerged in the 2.5 years since the election in Georgia or elsewhere, despite Trump's baseless claims. Republican officials in the state have long said he lost fairly, and 3 recounts there confirmed President Joe Biden's win. Trump had announced that he would be holding the event hours after a Georgia grand jury voted to charge him and others late on Monday in what they allege was a sweeping conspiracy to illegally overturn the results of the 2020 election and stop the peaceful transition of power. He had said he would use the major news conference at his Bedminster, New Jersey golf club to release what he claimed was an almost complete report that would exonerate him. Federal and state election officials and Trump's own attorney general have said there is no credible evidence that the election was tainted. The former president's allegations of fraud were also roundly rejected by courts, including by judges Trump appointed. Trump's renewed attacks on the integrity of Georgia's vote this week drew swift criticism from the state's Republican Governor Brian Kemp, whom Trump had tried to lobby as part of his efforts to overturn his loss in the battleground state. Meanwhile, lawyers for Trump on Thursday asked a federal judge in Washington to schedule an April 2026 trial on federal charges that he sought to overturn his election loss to Joe Biden. That requested date would place the trial after the November 2024 election, in which Trump is the frontrunner for the Republican nomination. The FBI arrested 9 current and former California police officers on Thursday as part of a major criminal investigation into racist text messages of dozens of law enforcement officials. Early morning federal raids rounded up officers from Antioch and Pittsburgh, two cities east of San Francisco, after they were charged in 4 grand jury indictments. The arrests come after revelations that Antioch officers sent violently racist, misogynistic and anti-gay text messages between 2019 and 2022. The hate-filled messages emerged as part of an inquiry by federal officials and local prosecutors investigating claims of widespread civil rights violations, excessive force, and falsification of records. Officers were exposed referring to black people as guerrillas and bragging about beating up local residents and fabricating evidence. Some group texts included supervisors. In April, it was revealed more than 45 officers, representing nearly half of Antioch's police department, were implicated in racist behavior. As of Thursday afternoon, 6 of the defendants had pleaded not guilty and were released, most with $100,000 bonds. They're facing 10 to 20 years behind bars on most of the charges. 5 Minute News is an Evergreen podcast covering politics, inequality, health and climate, delivering independent, unbiased and essential world news daily.